Hi everyone, my name is Alona and you are on my channel UX Practices and Experiments. Many beginners in UI UX design wonder which frames to choose for their designs. Often they decide to use the frames offered by Figma or rely on their own screen. These options are also possible and developers can adapt your designs for different devices. However, if we create a design for only one resolution, such as single desktop or mobile screen, it often turns out that on other screens our designs behave quite differently from what we see. That's why today we will take a closer look at the StatCounter service. This is a tool that helps analyze web traffic. It shows which browsers a specific audience uses and what screen resolutions they have. So now we will go through all the features step by step and see what StatCounter offers us. So StatCounter is a web traffic analysis service. It helps us view a lot of different information. That's why but first I wanted to tell you that the data we will check today can also be found and read in articles in both English and Ukrainian. The English version of articles can be found on my personal website, ux.com. Then go to the blog, articles, and you will find two articles there. The first one is about StatCounter, step-by-step guide with screenshots of what is already covered in what we are about to review. You can also read this article in Ukrainian via the provided link. At the top of the article there is a link, but you need to copy and paste it into the search bar. There you will find articles on Medium. This particular article is from my website page. It's the article about StatCounter. You can also visit my Medium page where all Ukrainian language articles will be published alongside their English versions on website, because currently my website supports only one language. So let's begin. The first thing you need to determine before working with StatCounter is who your target audience is and what exactly you're developing, whether it's a desktop version, a mobile app, or something else. Because the StatCounter service helps us analyze a lot of data, which we'll discuss this in more detail later, which includes regions from which these statistics were collected. We can view the statistics for worldwide or select a specific country to examine. We can also look at data for a particular year, but by default it shows data from the last 12 months. If you know you'll be designing for a particular country, like Canada or the USA, please check the data specifically for that country, because the data can differ significantly from other countries or the country you live in or global statistics. And secondly, why we consider what we are developing is, for example, if you are designing a website with responsive design, you can view specific information that may not be necessary for developing other products. If we create a responsive website, so the first thing that we need is this tab, mobile, tablet and desktop. You can also customize the data displayed on the screen by clicking Edit Chart Data. And here you can adjust various statistics by region, time period and chart type. Currently, it's a line chart, but for this data, a bar chart might be more suitable. On this chart, we see three device types: mobile, desktop, and tablet. And for example, we see that from 2023 to 2024, the most commonly used devices by users were mobile devices, and this is 55 and 39%. Next are desktop, 42 and 67%, and then tablets. What does this information tell us? If, for example, we are developing a responsive website and see that mobile phones are the most used devices, the best approach is mobile-first design. This means that we first design frames for phones, placing all the main features and key elements for optimal usability on mobile, and then we expand the design for desktop. If desktop usage were the highest, we would first design for desktop and then narrow down to mobile resolution. Having tablets in the first place seems almost impossible. But if it were the case, we'd prioritize the tablet design first, then consider the second and the third device categories based on usage. We were developing other products mentioned in my article, means interactive platforms, admin portals, various dashboards, data visualization, mobile apps. Then this tab, desktop, mobile, and tablet, wouldn't play a significant role because we should focus more on the product itself and the users. For example, if it's admin portal, they can also vary. It's admin portal. Some retail representatives traveling through regions, and they should input or view some data in the admin portal. So it's likely be accessed via tablet or mobile rather than desktop, or vice versa. There are some CRMs installed on desktops. For example, like for accounting departments who are working in the office, and we would base our design on desktop usage and then narrow it to mobile if necessary. The same is for mobile apps. For example, some certain apps like, for example, coloring apps, they are often used on tablets. So this is a very specific, and we must analyze users and understand their needs and which device they will use to access the product. If it is a website, this information about desktop, mobile, and tablet will be very useful for us. All right, let's move on. The second important point I'd like to cover with you is the screen resolution stats. This information, I would also switch it to a bar chart. This information helps us understand which are the most commonly used screen sizes. The first chart shows us all devices, desktop, tablets, and mobiles. But if we scroll a little bit down, we can view resolutions by specific device. For example, by clicking on desktop, we will see all desktop resolutions, And we will see that 1920 is the most common worldwide, not 1440 as many people assume. That's exactly the problem. Not really problem. This is the reason why I wanted to raise this question about screen sizes is because Figma gives us certain presets, and when we don't know what we should use, we just pick something from Figma or make some, for example, 1440. But if you look at this information, you can see that 1440 is actually on fifth place. And if we're designing a website and make a design, for example, for 1440 and mobile, so after we develop this site, it will look a little bit odd on some other screens. If we don't consider other resolutions, for example, 1280 or 1920, and will not consider how it looks at these resolutions, there will be some problem. Or if it's not a website, even more important than, for example, a dashboard with data visualization, many people are used to create such dashboards to fit on one screen. That is, so the information is displayed on a single main screen. But in reality, this information will never fully display on one screen. It will only display correctly if you will work through each resolution and redesign to be adaptive, creating designs for each resolutions from the smallest to the largest. But if we made the design, for example, at 1440, fitting all information on one screen, and then we'll open it at 1280, of course, we wouldn't see everything. It would be slightly narrowed in width and flow down, making us scroll. So here we can see which screen we need to adjust to. And if, for example, we're designing something to 1440 is the main screen, it's better to check how these designs will look at these different resolutions. The same actually goes for mobile. We see that the first place is 360, while designs for iPhones have become very popular. Just because the iPhone is more popular and commonly mentioned, and new iPhone with a different resolution comes out, it doesn't mean that our users use those iPhones or those exact resolutions. And very, very often we design something at for 14, and as the result, some information doesn't fit on smaller screens. Buttons became smaller, text doesn't fit, or we have to scroll something we wouldn't want to scroll. So in this case, the same. We will start from the main first resolution and then look at the others. It's the same as tablets. There's not much to discuss here. Okay, the second StatCounter feature that I wanted to discuss with you is browser market share. Again, we will view the information as a bar chart. Why is the browser data very important? Safari and Chrome, they just like operating systems, they are entirely different, and they affect the screen size of the user. And for example, even if we take a screen with the same resolution on phone, let's say on iPhone, and we open something through Safari, which is the second most popular here, and then we'll open something through Chrome, the information, everything will display and behave slightly differently. But how exactly Safari and Chrome behave? You can check first in my Figma community. There's a recently shared file about Safari and Chrome. There you can see the differences between browsers and their behavior in details. Also, after this video, there will be a second or third video explaining how these browsers function. Additionally, on my website, in my blog articles, And this article also describes and shows the difference between these two browsers across different operating systems, Windows, Mac OS, Android, and iOS. And also this article is on Medium. You can copy and paste this link, and here you can read the article in Ukrainian. Here, Safari and Chrome. Okay, we want to go deep into how exactly this information affects in this video. But right now we understand that the most popular browser is Chrome, and this will influence our design size. So this smoothly brings us to another statistics. OS market share. Let's open, for example, desktop. And we see that worldwide, the most popular computers and laptops are not MacBooks, but some other computers with operating system Windows. What does this give us? If we saw earlier then that Chrome is the top browser and now Windows is the top OS, Windows has a bottom taskbar that takes up space. So this information is very important. The same, like you can also take a look at phones. Here, mobile, Android. No, okay, no big issues here. And also in that video and Figma file about browsers will show how Safari and Chrome work on phones. On Android, Chrome also differs slightly from iOS and Safari. So yes, you need to keep in mind that if we are designing something for the whole world, it's better to focus not on the MacBook frames offered in Figma, but to pick some custom frame like the one in first place, 1920. Second is 1536, if I'm not mistaken. And then we understand that if it will be a website, we need to subtract certain number of pixels from the top and from the bottom. Bottom taskbar and the top address bar. It can be 2 or 3 different bars. And then we place our designs into the remaining height. Because very often designers they make some mistake of just taking a standard frame with standard height and designing for browser but using the entire height of this frame, and as a result they place something at the bottom and that can't be seen because those same bars in the browser eat up screen space. Okay, let's look another function. Let's look at another function. It's a device vendor market share. This is more like a secondary function. It is needed only if we designing something specifically for mobiles or tablets. Why? Because we can see that worldwide now in like 2023, 2024, the most frequently purchased tablets are Apple, with 54 and 69%, and in the second place, Samsung tablets. And looking at the mobiles, it's also Apple and Samsung in first place. Why do we need this data? It's more like a secondary reference because you might just take two, or if the gap were very large. For example, let's look at some other country like India. Here is an interesting example. We can see that in the first place, in the overall, at the top there are Xiaomi, Vivo, Realme, Samsung, Oppo, some unknown brand, OnePlus, and only then we have Apple. We understand that in this particular country, Apple is not people who use Apple are used to certain behaviors and some Apple native elements. But if we use elements very similar to Apple, thinking that they are understandable to everyone, it won't be entirely correct because, for instance, in India, Xiaomi will be most familiar design. So you can look at some guidelines that Xiaomi uses in their designs, how some drop downs work, how different alerts or dialogues work, and based on that, base your decisions on that behavior. Also, we can use certain colors or color patterns if it's not too critical for us. But no, for example, if we specifically want to use our brand colors, of course we can, but still for some native elements, it is better to rely on the information and elements that are generally most common in this particular country. In general, this service has other features. We can also check some statistics from social media or search engines, but that's for marketing purposes. The information we discussed is entirely sufficient for determining the necessary screen sizes for our designs. And as a conclusion, I would like to say that adaptation to different device sizes is very important. It is crucial to understand what your users are using, what browsers, what phone, computer, and what country they are from. When creating a design, you should consider and verify this instead of designing on just one frame and simply handing it off to developers for adaptation. Before giving the design for development, it's worth checking how your user would view your designs on a smaller or larger resolution. I highly recommend using this service, especially if you are designing for a specific country you don't live in and you are not familiar with its specifics. So I've prepared a file for you, resolutions and breakpoints. This is a file on this topic we just discussed about StatCounter. In it, you will find some frames shown in StatCounter, information worldwide with data from 2023-2024. So here screens are divided by the first scene we discuss, desktop, mobile, and tablet, and their most popular resolutions. I included all frames shown in those bars in the same sequence as in their charts and differentiated them in importance by color. And here you can see the legend that the red color is the most popular size, most frequently used, and gradiently we shift into the blue, the least popular. Next, I laid out these resolutions linearly, creating some breakpoints. So, as I mentioned, if you're focusing on mobile first design, we first design for mobile and then move to desktop. However, if it's a website, you need to consider how it will look on different screens. So we are open the site on various screens, or open it on a larger screen and shrink it, and your design must adapt to the screen size. That's why there are these custom breakpoints, as I named them. And yes, there are general variations and sequences developers typically use to adapt your screens, but for designers, for us, to understand how our designs will be approximately displayed, we can manually check through these sequences. So here on the left side, I split these frames by breakpoints. From the left side, X as it's mobile phones, S tablets, M small desktops, L it's a desktop 1920, and XL it's 2560 pixels. In the first row contains the main screen for checking out designs, but there are also secondary screens from which people view your designs. So you can use these frames, like for example, if you're designing for 1536, um, you can take your design and place it into 1366 frame and see how it looks when it is reduced. And if you want everything, all the information be visible on one screen, so you can play around with the components, with the layout, rearranging information for that screen. And this file is more like informational file, but on my page there is also the file with actual size devices. Let's quickly go through it. Yeah, so here is more practical information. Here are sizes from XS to XL are gathered, so you can insert your designs and see them on real devices. We will talk more about this file in the next video, but you can already check it out, click through it, and read the articles. Also, each file, on the first page of each file, there is introduction, and it contains some links to articles and other useful files. And here is the link to Google form. It's an anonymous feedback form from you to me. If you will fill it out and submit it, I won't know who you are. I will not find out your name or email or some other information. So feel free to write anything. You can write anything like feedback on my Instagram blog. It is currently empty, but I'm planning to to work on it. On some YouTube videos, on my Figma files. So if I displayed something incorrectly or forgot something, or you have some questions or suggestions for some other new topics, absolutely anything you want to share, please do this, because it helps me shape topics for future discussions. And there are also links to all my resources, like Instagram, LinkedIn, Behance, Figma community, my website, and more. No, and while we are on Figma community here, I would like to say that there is also a first file as a CRM. This file is still in development, in design. It's a case I plan to add to my portfolio later. But right now I'm working on a dashboard page for retail, and not just making a single screen design, but also doing some research about users, about their needs, and what information they should see on the dashboard based on their roles. And after I worked through all this information, I also want to check how this dashboard will display at different resolutions. So maybe I will need to move something, rearrange elements, etc. And also everything will be built on auto layout and components. As I said, this file is still work in progress file, but you can already check it out. Actually, a lot has been done already, so there is still much work ahead. So that's it. All the links I mentioned will be in the description below this video. I really ask you, please leave comments. Leave the comments under this video in some Google form, or write comments in Figma community. I will be happy to see you among my followers in Instagram, YouTube, Figma community. So let's see you in the next video. Bye bye.